All right, we got some breaking news in the NFL as four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this isn't a very surprising move. This is a move that a lot of people have been predicting for weeks and even months at this point in time. The connection between Rodgers and the Steelers, the fit just seemed there. Pittsburgh has a lot of veterans on this roster and didn't have a quarterback. You didn't want to go into the season if you were Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard as your quarterback room. That simply put was just not going to be enough to keep Mike Tomlin's above 500 record alive. And for Aaron Rodgers, the speculation, those in the know were basically saying, hey, Rodgers has some off the field stuff that he wants to do this offseason. He doesn't want to sign with a team and then be absent. He'd rather wait until he is ready to commit to a roster. And that is what we're basically seeing here. Rodgers is headed to Pittsburgh this Friday, and he's going to sign his contract, and he's going to be at Steelers minicamp per Ian Rappaport. So this is all in all a good thing. When it comes to what are the expectations of Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, maybe that's a little bit of a different conversation. When we take a look at Aaron Rodgers' 2024 counting stats, they're not actually that bad. A 63% completion percentage, 3,897 yards, and a 28-11 touchdown to interception ratio. Now, while on paper these stats are good, I do think it's a little misleading. I think his play was a little bit worse than these numbers will tell you, and he hasn't had a 4,000-yard passing season in 3 years. But there is some hope for Steelers fans. We do know that Aaron Rodgers has pretty much followed the Brett Favre career track thus far. Brett Favre obviously was excellent in Green Bay. And then he went to the Jets and sucked. And then he went to Minnesota and took them to an NFC championship game. So if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan here, you have to hope that the Jets are just that terrible and that you are Aaron Rodgers' version of the Minnesota Vikings. And I don't think that that is a full 0% chance to be the case. When you look at the Steelers roster, for starters, the defense has some real high-end elite talent to it. TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr. You have a good linebacking core. You just drafted a Derek Harmon in the draft. So the defensive core there, Mike Tomlin usually coaches up a pretty good defense. But what kind of an offense does Aaron Rodgers have to work with? Well, when you look at the offensive line, it's one of the better offensive lines Rodgers has had in a very, very long time. You have Troy Fautanu as the right tackle. We'll see about Broderick Jones at left tackle, but you also have a very solid and fairly young interior offensive line as well. You look at the weapons, it's different from what Pittsburgh's had over the last few years. You take out George Pickens, you bring in a DK Metcalf. You take out a Najee Harris, you bring in a more explosive Caleb Johnson. And to the Steelers' credit, they've been winning 8, 9, 10, even 11 games. Not even 8 ever. As I said that, it's been 9, 10, or 11 games with quarterbacks of the likes of Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson. You could argue Aaron Rodgers, even at 41 years old, is the best quarterback that Pittsburgh has had since Big Ben. Which is insane to say, but it might actually be true. When it comes to my general predictions for this team with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I don't know. It's still a really competitive AFC when you look out there. The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, the big three of this conference, still exist and still have better rosters than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And even if Aaron Rodgers has a resurgence, I don't see him at their level. But what does Pittsburgh have here? Probably a path to being a playoff team again, and the best shot that I'd say that they have of actually winning a playoff game since Big Ben was the quarterback. We know that Aaron Rodgers is a guy who can perform in the playoffs. And with these weapons, with that offensive line, I don't think the offense will be as disastrous as it was for stretches. You look at the end of the regular season last year with Russell Wilson for this Pittsburgh Steelers unit, and they were just absolutely terrible. They were 0-5 in their last 5 games, and they were absolutely getting dog walked. I get it, Steelers fans. You had to play the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Ravens again in that stretch. It wasn't easy competition by any means, but you weren't competing in those games. I think with Aaron Rodgers, you have a better shot to succeed and compete in those games. I think he has a little bit more in the tank than Russell Wilson does. Obviously, at their peaks, Aaron Rodgers was a much better player than Russell Wilson ever was. Aaron Rodgers pre-snap IQ, it's all there. I do think that you have to be a little concerned, though, about the locker room. You have Aaron Rodgers, who's a big personality. DK Metcalf is no stranger to being labeled a diva wide receiver. There are some question marks there. Do these veteran players get frustrated, early on in the season? It is something to keep an eye on. But if I'm a Steelers fan today, how do you not feel better looking at this roster with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback than when you had Mason Rudolph or potentially Will Howard? And when you look ahead to the future, if you're a Will Howard guy, me, not so much personally, but if you are, having Aaron Rodgers to sit behind for a year could actually be something that's pretty solid for his development as a player. The same thing goes with rookie running back Caleb Johnson. Oddly enough, having a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers to help teach him, here's the best way to help your quarterback out. Here's the best way to stand out as a running back. It could be useful. The Steelers making this move, while predictable, yes. 1-year deal, probably $20 million, nothing too crazy. Is it going to win them a Super Bowl? Very slim chance. Is it going to make them competitive week to week? Absolutely. Does it make the AFC North a really tough division? You bet your ass it does. Will I be tuned in? No doubt about it. Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers is certainly a difference-making move for this team. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is this a game changer for this team? Do you see them being able to compete in not just one, but multiple playoff games? Could they win the division? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you love the NFL and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, hit that button. I'll catch you next time. Peace.